everybody. Welcome to another MoGraph podcast. I'm your host, Matt Milstead. Joining me this week, Jake Bartlett.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super excited to have you back. It's been a few months since we had you on, and really excited to chat about all things new. Yeah, we all know we all know why we're here. But I want to give a big shout out to our universal sponsor, Otoy. You know them, you love them. They're the makers of Octane Render and the Render Network. With Octane, you can create super photorealistic renders incredibly fast, and for those renders that need a little extra push of power, the Render Network has you covered. Render Network can render your Octane, Redshift, and Blender cycle frames in a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost of other cloud rendering services. Make sure and give them a try. Also, I've got my code. If you're going to RenderCon or wanting to go to RenderCon, it is April 16th and 17th. You can use the code MilsteadRC for 50% off of your ticket. So if you're going to be in the LA Hollywood area during from April 16th to 17th, come hang out at RenderCon. It's going to be a fantastic convention. I will be speaking. EJ will be speaking. Jules Zerbach will be speaking. Barton Damer. Let's see. Winbush will be there. A ton of other artists. Alex Ross is going to be there, which is really exciting because I'm going to bring my Alex Ross Marvel's comic book that has Jules, his character that he made for Jules, on the cover. I'm going to have him sign it. Hopefully I can do that. Use the code MilsteadRC for 50% off your ticket. But we're here to talk to you, Jake. We know why we're here. We know why we're here.
It's been quite a week for me.
And as Dave said, they're going to be doing a Camp MoGraph ticket giveaway at RenderCon. So, make sure and go if you're going to go. But Jake, I'm super excited to have you here. It's been probably, I think I looked it up last, and it's been 20-something episodes. So about 6 months since you've been on the show, which is good. You know, and that was the first time we had you on the show. But you reached out to me. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, just yesterday.
I didn't have a guest this week, and I was just gonna be like, I've been stressing out, whatever, trying to get my video game done. And then you hit me up, and you're like, hey, you got any spaces free? I was like, let's do it tomorrow. So this is exciting. Yeah,
it worked out.
Glad to have you here. Thanks. So what have you been up to in the past 6 months? Other than the obvious, why everyone is here.
Right. Well, so at the end of the last time that we spoke, I was working on this course, Animation Principles for Motion Designers. I can't remember if it was out before or after that call, but regardless, it's up. Yeah. And it went really well. I did an 8-week run with private community with students, and they loved it. And
awesome.
Every week we did a live call, and at the end of it, they were kind of like, a handful of them were like, I'm really going to miss this. Can we keep doing live calls? Is there some way we could do this? So I was just like, let's try it. And so I did a call on my Discord server.
Cool.
18 people showed up, which I thought was a great turnout, and we had a really good time. And then I decided to do it on YouTube the next week, and 250 people came.
Wow.
And I was like, oh. So
when you got that YouTube following, it's like, it's so nice.
I guess. I mean, I always wrote off live streaming, but I've done it a handful of times now. I'm going to do it again tomorrow on my channel.
Cool.
And it's so much fun. Getting to actually interact with the viewers live has been incredibly fun and a much different experience than just uploading a video.
Yeah.
What else? At the end of last year, I made 12 scripts and gave them away for After Effects.
Nice.
12 days of Scriptsmas leading up to Christmas Day, and those were kind of a moment for me to end the year strong. I had a really great response to that. And that was kind of an indicator to most of my audience that I've fully embraced vibe coding.
Okay.
Because I don't know how to code.
Right.
And everything that I've been putting out script-wise, tool-wise for After Effects has been completely vibe coded.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what led me into this was 7 weeks ago now. Actually, on one of the calls with the Animation Principles for Motion Designers weeks, the live streams, I just kind of threw out this idea that I had in my head to my students. I was like, if it was possible to edit in After Effects, would that be something you'd be interested in? And I legitimately was almost joking when I said that. But several people said, yes, I would be very interested in that. And
100%.
so I just was like, huh, okay. And I filed that in my head, put it on the back burner. But then one Friday afternoon, and this was again 7 weeks ago, I sat down at my computer after lunch and I was like, I don't really have anything else I need to do today. So I opened up Claude and I was just like,
Yeah.
hey, do you think we could make an After Effects extension? And of course, it said yes.
Of
AI
course
is
it does.
always very competent. And I just kind of described what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a Premiere style timeline in After Effects that
Mm-hmm.
just translated the layers that you had open as clips on tracks instead of layers.
Mm-hmm.
And gives you the editing tools that you're used to using in an editing software.
Yeah.
And long story short, I mean, within like 4 hours, I had a proof of concept, and I knew that I could do it.
Wow.
And 6 weeks later, here we are. I released it
Amazing.
1 week ago. So I went into the launch of this tool with extremely low expectations because
Right.
again, even though I did have a little bit of confidence boost of yeah,
You're
people
like,
want this,
oh no, I priced it all wrong.
yeah, my marketing guy is always like, I wonder if we should have priced that higher. No, I'm happy with the price the way it is, but I went into this honestly with zero anticipation that it was going to take off.
Yeah.
I thought maybe, people would react positively to it,
Mm-hmm.
but I also was fully ready for it to implode and just like people say this is garbage. What are you
Mm-hmm.
talking about, Jake? Like this is clearly vibe coded. You shouldn't have done this. It shows kind of thing. But the absolute polar opposite had happened. I cannot believe how many people who didn't know who I was
Mm-hmm.
were like reposting it online and
Mm-hmm.
and sharing like this dude brought Premiere to After Effects, which is not what Railcut is, by the way. I need to be very clear about
Yeah.
that. We should get into the details of what Railcut is. Um, but yeah, it has been a wild first, I guess, 6 days now. Just yesterday, I shipped the first update with a whole
Oh,
bunch of
nice.
already user feedback, user requested features and bug fixes.
That's cool.
But yeah, what do you want to know about it?
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I was curious if you were going to mention that it was vibe coded because I
hmm
feel like that's something I've been really big into vibe coding.
Yeah.
It's amazing when you're finally able to put the ideas that you have in your brain and have a tool like Claude or something actually implement them because it's like yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
It is.
But the thing that you deal with is like you need to have a really good understanding of how the software works because Claude may not necessarily be able to understand completely when you're putting it together, you know?
hmm
So I would expect that you as an After Effects master would understand what was going on, as you're putting this together. What were some of the what having dealing with vibe coding, what were
hmm
some of the limitations that you found as you were putting this together?
Yeah. So I've been vibe coding probably like a year and a half now. And it all started like before I even knew what Claude was. I was using
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT
Same.
coming off of
Yep.
the heels of Nick Greenewalt of Motion by Nick. He put out a video where he used ChatGPT to make After Effects scripts. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, like it's not just a chatbot, like it
Yeah.
knows how to code.
Yeah.
And so that was my first little experiment with vibe coded After Effects tools, and it was horrible. I mean, it was a terrible experience. It, like you said, knew nothing about the limitations of
Mm-hmm.
extend script, and it was a struggle just to get it to make a simple script that would reverse the layer order of your
Yeah.
selection. Eventually, I got it, but AI has progressed so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten so much better. I eventually found Claude. Claude has proven to me to be the best coding tool for the stuff that I'm doing, at least. And I'm doing it in VS Code, which is Microsoft's Visual Studio Code,
Yep.
through the Claude extension or the CLI. And What I have learned over the past year and a half is that you obviously need to give it context. You need to give
Yes.
it guidance.
Yes.
And once I learned a little bit about how to do that and how you can leverage the AI to actually do the research that it needs to know how to do certain things,
Mm-hmm.
I basically started making an After Effects extend script builder knowledge base,
Okay.
where if I ask it, I want a script that does this to keyframes, like it copies them across layers or something.
Mm-hmm.
It knows, based on the architecture of this project, where to go within that project to find the documentation that tells it how you manipulate keyframes using scripting in After Effects.
Cool.
And I just kept building that out and then trying to build a tool. And then when I made a tool, it would, fail at one point, and we'd figure out why did that fail. And then I built in my own little slash command, which is a thing for Claude Code, where you can basically automate something with a simple command. But I made a slash command called capture learnings so
Mm-hmm.
that anytime we discovered something that it didn't know, it would automatically identify
Mm.
what did we just learn, put it into the knowledge base. And so I've been doing that for about a year.
That's cool.
And it literally has a an index of every single match name of every property of every effect in After Effects.
Wow.
It knows the entirety of the extend script user guide from Adobe. I've spent a lot of time putting a lot of effort into giving it all of the knowledge that it could possibly need to know how After Effects works. And then the Extend Script 3 limitations. That is the biggest hurdle I've found with AI specifically for After Effects.
Mm-hmm.
Because Extend Script is a subset, if I hope I'm explaining this right, is a subset of JavaScript.
Okay.
And it has a cutoff of like 2017 or some year, there's a cutoff where anything past that in JavaScript development, ExtendScript 3 does not have. And that's where all
Interesting.
the errors came from.
Uh-huh.
Usually, it's always trying to use a part of JavaScript that ExtendScript doesn't support.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a huge set of documents where it's like, these are all ES3 limitations. Don't ever try to use any of these methods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why build it in ExtendScript instead of just JavaScript? Is ExtendScript the specific coding that After Effects uses?
Yes. So JavaScript is accessible now by expressions within After Effects,
Yeah.
the full JavaScript library, but the scripting, the actual script panels and script functionality is still limited to ExtendScript 3 in After
Interesting.
Effects.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
But having all of that knowledge built up directly translated to Railcut, because
Yeah.
Railcut is an extension significantly more complex than an After Effects script, which is just a single JavaScript file essentially.
For sure.
But all it is really is a website wrapper that lives in a panel, which allows you to create something that has an interface, basically. It's basically designing this timeline interface as if it was a website. But then as you interact with it, it's sending those same scripting commands that my simple scripts
Ah.
use, and it's just doing it really efficiently.
Yeah.
And in a format, in an interface that looks and feels like a timeline.
Yeah. Dude, it looks exactly like a Premiere timeline.
Thank you. Um, I did have to tweak stuff. I had my beta testers like, dude, Adobe might sue you. And
I
I was
was
like,
curious
oh,
if you've heard
you're
from
right. I
anyone
should
from
probably change some
Adobe.
stuff. Yeah. So all the icons are original. I handmade them. I did change some of the layout. I got some feedback from Nick Dean, who created Captioneer,
Uh-huh.
an After Effects auto caption tool, and he was telling me about all this like wasted UI space. Like he was giving me really good tips on we could make this more compact so it's easier to work. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I tried to do my best at making a non-linear editing style timeline
Yeah.
fit in the After Effects workspace.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I love that it's like it's talking to your composition,
Right.
and like
Yep.
adjusting live.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So that was one of the hardest things that I had to figure out with beta testers is originally, I think you know David Arbor. He's on the
yeah,
After
yeah.
Effects
I love
engineer
David.
team. So I was talking to him directly about like what are some no-nos that I need to know about when it comes to
Mm.
making third-party tools for After Effects. And he
Uh-huh.
told me that one of the biggest issues is a script or an extension that will constantly pull After Effects. And he said, "Why are you asking?" It's like, because I'm making an extension that's constantly pulling After Effects. So he walked me through why that's a bad thing, because if a script is constantly running code to read what After Effects is doing
Mm-hmm.
while it's trying to work, it's just going to crash After Effects.
Yeah.
And so the issue that I was running into with beta testers is that they would work in After Effects and Railcut would not update. And they didn't know
Mm.
why. They did a bunch of work and it wouldn't update. And then they'd come back and then it would finally update. And they're like, so there was like a 10-second delay or something? Like it was really confusing. And so one of the biggest UX improvements that I made that I think kind of fixed it for everyone was when you move your mouse out of the panel and start interacting with a different panel, it dims and it blurs, and there's a little indicator that says resume sync. So you have to come back to
Ah.
Railcut before it ever starts listening to After Effects again. But as soon as you do, it snaps back.
Mm-hmm.
But that way, it's not taking any processing power, any CPU usage while you're
Gotcha.
working in After Effects, which was kind of a critical thing.
Yeah.
It was just they weren't getting that feedback. So I had panel dim, blur, little indicator. And I think once that was implemented, then it
Uh-huh.
started clicking for people. And they're like, oh, okay, Railcut's not listening right now. And it was very
Yeah,
clear.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Wow, what an interesting way to overcome an obstacle like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun process. When you said having this vibe coding ability, it's been really fun to learn what it's capable of, but then how to guide it to do what you
Yes.
actually need it to do.
Yes.
Since I don't know how to code,
Mm-hmm.
I can write expressions, I could read JavaScript,
Mm-hmm.
but the way that I'm working with it makes it feel like I'm still just being a designer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just designing it in a very different way
Yeah.
than I would in After Effects animation.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm building an app by just describing what I want it to be,
Yeah.
and then just testing it,
Yeah.
really thoroughly testing it and getting beta testers. Kyle Hamrick was the first one that actually tested it for me, and
Uh-huh.
it was after a month of work. I was like, I got it. This is amazing. This is what it's going to be. I'm not looking for new features.
Tell me he broke it right
Just
away.
make sure there's no bugs. And he recorded a 15-minute video of me of his first test,
Uh-huh.
and I got to cut a reel together because it's just disappointing reaction after disappointing reaction where he's like, it's not working. Strike three. Like it just completely failed, and I just had this mile-long list of things
Yeah.
that need that. The biggest thing that I learned from beta testers is that everyone edits differently, and that was the
Yeah.
thing that I didn't have the vision of initially.
Yeah.
Is that I edit the way I edit, and
Yeah.
everybody else edits the way they edit.
Yeah.
I think I learned 7 new features of Premiere just from Kyle
Oh, that's
trying
funny.
to do something in Railcut that it couldn't do. So it came a long way in just that first beta test.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The thing that I love, I love that not only are you cutting, but you show doing keyframes with the audio and it
Mm.
reacting automatically and stuff. Chef's kiss. That's incredible.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a feature of Premiere that I wanted to do. That's what was so amazing about the process is that I basically just said, okay, we've got audio waveforms working, which I didn't think was possible, by the way, but it
Yeah.
is. We got it working. FFmpeg is bundled and processing the audio in the background. But I was like, okay, so we got the audio waveforms. Could we have them react to the keyframe lines just like in Premiere?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not kidding. Like it just did it.
That's amazing.
Almost every request that I made, it just did it. And
Yeah.
then it was just a matter of like, okay, it's doing it, but I needed to behave slightly differently. And like there was almost never a hard no, that's not possible,
Yeah.
or it couldn't figure it out. If there ever was a time that the code Claude couldn't figure out the code, I would just say, well, can you go research it? And then it would go off for
Yep.
5 minutes and it'd be like, oh, found it. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been using the web version. I'm not like
Okay.
fully into the code VS or the
VS Code.
VS Code stuff yet. I tried it once and then it's like, do you want to make these updates? I'm like, okay. And then it just started like changing all my code. And I'm like, wait a second, I need to kind of know what you're doing. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to the
Yeah.
code, even though I have no idea what it's typing, so I've been using Claude for this month, as everyone who's been following me on the live streams and stuff knows that I've been competing in the Bite Off, which is the big NES video game competition, and I know
Hmm.
nothing. I know very little about assembly code, so I was having Claude write all my assembly code and stuff like that. So I'm just copying and pasting, copying and pasting, and copying and pasting, you know. But
Yeah.
what I find with the web version of it is it will get in this infinite loop of like,
Mm.
oh, let's try. No, sorry. It's almost like, have you ever have you ever had a project that you're working on and you're like, oh, this isn't working. I just need to do this quick band-aid. Okay, this isn't working. Let
Yes.
me do this quick band-aid. And by the time you deliver the video, it's got 500 band-aids in it that you literally
Yes.
could have just re-rendered the entire thing, you know, and it
Yes.
would have been one. I feel like that's what Claude does sometimes, and it gets in this loop over and over again. So
Hmm.
what I find I have to do is I would save all my project files, you know, all my assembly scripts and stuff. I would take it into Claude, a brand new Claude chat, and I'd be like, "Hey, Claude, how's it going? So I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
Here
No.
is this script. Here's what I'm trying to do. Blah blah blah. Let's see how you react to this." And then it's something completely different, you know.
Yes. Yes.
Did you run into that with the VS Code version of it?
So, yes, not with Railcut though.
Mm-hmm.
So, to give you a little bit more context, I can't really share publicly what this stuff is going to be yet, but I will tell you that I'm actively working on two full-blown apps that have nothing to do with motion design right now.
Okay.
And through the process, this has been going on since probably January. Through the process, I've learned a lot about that Band-Aid thing.
Yeah.
Where even in VS Code, it's like I have a vision for an app and it's exciting and I explain it to Claude Code and it's like, yes, we can absolutely do this. And then in 30 minutes, I have like the first prototype. And then I'm like, okay, this is a great start. Let's add this feature and this feature and this feature. And things keep getting slapped on
Yeah.
that Claude never planned for in the beginning. And
Yeah.
eventually things start slowing down or breaking, or we hit a wall and I can't figure out why we can't get past it. And I started identifying that it's because of that whole, we didn't go into this with a good plan. We didn't have
Mm-hmm.
a vision of what is this product going to be as a whole? What are the components that it's going to need? And when we're just putting one thing on top of, like I run into an error and then we fix it, that's the whole Band-Aid thing, where it's the underlying code is what is the problem. And we're just identifying the error and saying, when this error happens, fix it.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
stop producing that code that is causing the error.
Yeah.
So because I had that kind of experience with those other apps I'm working on, going into Railcut, I started with a very solid plan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Claude Code has plan mode,
Yes.
where it does nothing until you've planned everything out, you've talked through it. It's really good at making a plan, but then you can iterate on it. And once you've approved the plan, then it can start. So that's how I started with Railcut. I just
Yeah.
gave it, very good description. And once I read the plan that it had produced, and I was like, yep, that sounds exactly like what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got to work. Now, with my experience of making the After Effects scripts and building up the knowledge base that I have, I knew that I'm going to need you to understand how extensions for After Effects work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to go research, how do you make CEP panels? And once it gathered all the research, I said, I want you to document it and create what's called a Claude skill.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not writing any of this. I just know it exists. I know that Claude knows how it works. But a skill is basically a quick lookup for a very particular task where so for extensions example, if it needs to do something for an After Effects extension, it can go to kind of like an index of that documentation and know without much token usage, without a lot of compute power, be like, oh, this is where I need to go. So it doesn't have to do a ton of thinking
Sure.
to find the information it's looking for.
Yeah, that's nice.
And so I had it build skills for several different parts of the process, which makes the coding sessions go much quicker.
Yeah. That makes sense. You know, because I'll sometimes I'll be on the web version and I'll be like, all right, let's implement this, and then I'll just be on my phone for the next 5 minutes waiting for it to actually do something.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But actually being able to use the skills for it to reference because you know it's gonna go there anyway. You know, that's
Right.
pretty valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, it made the whole process go quicker. And I mean, I would encourage you to check out the CLI version, the command line interface version, just because I think it does a really good job of kind of being a little bit more autonomous because you can kind of give it approval to to do things. So like I'm using GitHub for the first time,
Okay.
and I can approve GitHub commits and pushing and
Oh,
keeping
nice.
versioning, tracking and backups
Yeah.
and you can kind of like when it asks for that permission the first time, you can say yes and don't ask again so that it knows, okay, I'm giving you permission to push stuff to GitHub for me and you don't have to ask again.
Yeah.
But what I love about the VS Code environment is that you can open up the directory that has all of the code, all of the files,
Mm-hmm.
and have a CLI at the bottom, like a terminal window essentially at the bottom of the panel, and the code editor up here. So at any point you can grab any file, view it in a nice code editor, and see what Claude Code is doing to the code, the changes it's making,
Yeah.
and you can have multiple sessions running at the same time.
That's
So
cool.
if you wanted to have one session that's all about the UI and the design, then it can like have that
Mm,
narrower context to be like, I'm going to focus on the design versus I need to work on license activation and how we're going to get the API to connect and authenticate
yeah.
the user. And so you can give different roles to the different sessions essentially. And I'm really good friends with a software engineer that works in the crypto industry, and he uses Claude Code 8 hours a day, and he has six terminals open at the same time. Like, it's legitimately the future
Yeah.
of working with code.
Yeah, the thing that I like, and this is the way that I've always explained it, imagine you bought yourself a $20 a month employee who has a ton of knowledge about a bunch of different software and is able to code for you, right? You
Yeah.
are the creative director who is directing your employee to do specific work for you. Claude's not building your app without any sort of input. It needs your input first, and then
Yes.
it's doing the work, you know,
Yep.
which is really cool. You know,
Yeah.
you're just playing creative director and you're able to iterate off of that, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, um, so, you get these people who are like, you're not coding, you're not really coding, you're just filling it with bloat and stuff like that. It's like, well, wait, even if I had a, $200,000 a year employee, they could still fill it with useless bloat. I mean, I love After Effects, but let's talk about how much bloat code is probably in there right
Right.
now,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's a great way to look at it. And I don't, I'm not trying to come into this with the sensationalism of vibe coding
Yeah.
is killing coders in the same way that I'm not a proponent of people coming in and saying vibe motion
Yeah.
is killing motion designers. I think developers,
Mm-hmm.
the people who actually know how to do this stuff, they are going to be able to use Claude Code 100 times better than I am because
Mm-hmm.
they understand what's going on.
Yeah.
They know why instinctively they know why certain things might be erroring or go. I don't know anything about Next.js or React or all of these systems that I'm using for my tools.
Mm-hmm.
Claude, I just asked Claude. I was like, "This is the tool I want to make. What do we need to do it?" And
Yeah.
it's like, "We can do this." I always follow that up with I try to do my due diligence and research like if I were to hand this off to a developer, what would they say about it?
Yeah.
Would they be happy with this structure?
Yeah.
Would they immediately say, "Oh, that's vibe coded. That's
Yeah.
AI slop," or I want to be confident that if I handed this to an actual developer, he would say, "Okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That looks pretty solid."
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I approach my projects, and I am constantly trying. I run audits regularly where I'm like, okay, I want you to audit the code base for security issues. Like that was my number one concern with
Cool.
Railcut,
Yeah.
because this was the first tool that I've released that has a license key that's generated for the user and that has to be authenticated. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm terrified that I'm going to do something that exposes something,
Yeah.
and so we did a lot of research, and the Claude Code had to kind of like calm me down. It's like we got this. There are systems in place for managing this kind of thing. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm always very honest with it. In anytime I'm starting a new project, I'm like the first thing I say is I am a motion designer. I
Mm-hmm.
am not a coder. I
Okay.
do not know any of this stuff. I'm relying on you to be the expert and to
Yeah.
use best practices, modern workflows, reliable and secure architecture.
Mm-hmm.
That's your role. I'm just going to tell you what I want, and I need you to make it happen.
Yeah. 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 That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, how much beta testing is involved? I can imagine a ton. I vibe coded a an NES music maker because I didn't like the NES music makers that were out there, and I
Hmm.
wanted an easier way to make music for my game. So I
Yeah.
spent a weekend vibe coding an NES music maker, but the amount of like I spent literally a whole day just like squashing bugs here and there and
Yep.
trying to figure out why it wasn't working, and then I finally released it, and then I went to go use it for my video game the other day and found, oh, this doesn't work at all. you know so I can only imagine the amount of beta testing that's involved, especially with something like this.
Yeah, maybe I didn't do enough, but I probably had 8 or 9 beta testers
Mm-hmm.
who were able to give me feedback. But they were really good beta testers. Like I
Yeah.
said, Kyle Hamrick, who taught, for School of Motion, he
Yeah.
taught Premiere for motion designers. So
Mm-hmm.
if there was somebody who could test a Premiere style editing timeline, he was the guy to do it, and
100%.
he
Yeah.
delivered. But I had about 8 or 9 people. They all had different feedback, and that again goes back to the concept of everybody edits differently.
Yeah.
They all had different behaviors that they wanted to see changed, or features of Premiere that they used that weren't in Railcut yet. So that, getting that pool of users that use editing software differently than I do was so valuable,
Mm-hmm.
and allowed me to edge case test essentially, because I can only test things so much.
Yeah.
And as I got into it, I realized there's like an infinite number of ways to do something that
Yeah.
you wouldn't think would matter.
Yeah.
But just like if you take 2 clips and you create an overwrite, that's one way to make an edit. But if you take that same clip and you move it between the in and out points of this clip and overwrite, in After Effects, that has to make 2 clips, and it would like break.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, there were just so many scenarios that people were discovering. Like, hey, when I cut here and there's a clip above it, like then it bugs out. Like
Yeah.
there were a lot of things like that I had to work through. But eventually, once the editing part was really solid, when it was
Uh-huh.
translating the language of the edit of a nonlinear editor that you were used to the actions it would take to create those edits in After Effects,
Uh-huh.
then it was kind of smooth sailing. And again, I did that same process every time we discovered, like it would put the out point before the in point of a clip a lot
Mm-hmm.
in After Effects, where it couldn't even display the clip anymore because the scripting had literally inverted the clip's
Yeah.
time. And once we, got through 2 or 3 of those and identified what was causing it, then things just started clicking, and it was
Mm-hmm.
much more of just, I want this behavior, and then it gave it to me.
Yeah.
So and again, anytime there was like a discovery like that, I said, okay, we should have a skill, probably. I always say probably, like you tell me, a skill that allows you to know if I'm asking you to do something with, changing the in and out points of a layer, you know exactly how to do it and what not to do
Yeah.
with After Effects scripting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the beta testing that ran for probably 2 weeks, I want to
Okay.
say. And I got a lot of great, obviously, testimonials out of that, which I was able to launch with. Super grateful to all my beta testers.
Mm-hmm.
And I released it kind of with my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Hopeful, I was hoping people didn't just laugh me away, and I would be okay with it if that's how it happened, because it's basically become a meme on Reddit when
Yeah. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
share screenshots of their After Effects timeline, and then everybody's like, "What are you doing? Stop editing in After Effects."
150 layers deep of just edits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was so amazing was the day after it was released, people started taking screenshots of their 150 layers on this side and
Uh-huh.
then Railcut on this side, and it looked like Premiere. And I was
That's
just like,
cool.
this is amazing. Like
That's
people are
super cool.
legitimately using this the way that I intended them to.
Yeah. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
this your first After Effects plugin that you've made?
Yeah, so that's the whole like misnomer, is that the right term? Like there are After Effects scripts,
Uh-huh.
there are After Effects extensions, and there are
Mm-hmm.
After Effects plugins.
Yes.
So a plugin would be something that, like an effect, like a native effect, is a plugin for
Yeah.
After Effects. But Element 3D is a plugin. It is a generative effect that generally renders something.
Uh-huh.
Railcut is an extension, which
Okay.
I gave the brief overview, but it's essentially just a nice looking After Effects script that has much more capabilities in terms of communication. So it can connect
Okay.
to the internet. I mean, some scripts can too, but it's essentially just a website. It's using CSS, HTML
That's
to
so
design that
interesting.
interface. And then when you move the playhead in Railcut, it's sending the scripting call to After Effects to update the position of the After Effects playhead. When you make a cut on a clip, it sends the split layer command to After Effects.
Uh-huh.
So it's basically just a smoke and mirrors interface that looks like Premiere,
Uh-huh.
and it's just sending a whole bunch of commands to After Effects.
Amazing.
But yes, it is the first time I've made an extension.
But you said it's a browser?
It essentially is. If you open up which one is it? The frame.io extension, which is bundled with After Effects,
Uh-huh.
and you drag a URL from your browser to that panel and let go, it will open that URL and you will have a browser inside of After Effects.
So interesting.
Yeah, it's really
That's so
crazy.
funny.
And so I guess for a long time, this format of the extension is called CEP. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what it stands for, but Adobe for a while has been transitioning to UXP, which is a different format. After Effects has not gotten that update yet. Photoshop did, and it
Mm-hmm.
caused a big stir. It killed a bunch of old CEP panels because they basically said we're not supporting CEP anymore. All you developers have to update to
Interesting.
UXP. And eventually that's
So
going to come to
that'll be
After
fun for
Effects.
you.
Yes, yes. When that day comes, I will be updating to UXP, and apparently supposedly they will be giving us years of time
Sure.
notice
Yeah.
to say like we will continue supporting CEP for X amount of years, but you got to get your stuff on UXP.
Yeah. That
So
makes
when the
sense.
time comes, we'll do it. I'll get Claude Code up to speed, and it'll
Mm-hmm.
do all that research for me, and fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. Man, so can you I haven't downloaded it yet. I will.
Okay.
Are you able you were mentioning like insert and overwrite. You're actually able to insert and overwrite on the timeline and stuff like
Oh
that?
yeah.
That's
So that was one of the
incredible.
features that Kyle immediately tried to drag a clip from the project panel to the Railcut timeline, and it didn't work.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's just not possible. But then I was like, but hang on, because I remember the whole web thing where you could drag a URL to it and
Mm-hmm.
open the URL. I was like, that must be a thing. And Claude just kept telling me, nope, it's not possible. I was like, I think it is. I think you can
Yeah.
drag and drop. I think you can identify that. And so it ran like some debug logging for me because I can run the panel in debug mode, which allows me to open it in a browser window, and it
Mm-hmm.
literally shows me Railcut in the browser rendered, and then I can open up the console for Chrome to give me debug logging. And so it added in some code that's like when you drag and drop, I'm going to debug it, and it gave me like an output of what After Effects or what the panel intercepted. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, we can drag and drop. And once
Yeah.
it learned like this is what After Effects is giving us, then we were able to translate that into, okay, when you drag a clip from the project panel, we're going to create a drop zone and we're going to show these clips as like little ghost clips on tracks until the user lets go of it, and then we'll
Uh-huh.
just import it to that point in time. And it worked.
And
So like,
are you creating in and out points on your clips as well? Like your B and N, and then dragging those
right.
in?
So no,
Okay.
that is one of the hard limitations of After Effects is you cannot open up a clip and set in and out points that are reflected in that project panel.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it in the, is it footage or layer panel, where you can double click on the footage,
Yes.
it opens
Yeah, yeah,
up in
yeah.
its own, and then you set your in and out. And there actually is an overwrite and an insert command, which is frustrating because I can't access that.
Oh,
Um,
interesting. I didn't even know
so
that.
yeah, maybe, you know what? I say that I'm starting to feel a little not so confident that that's 100% accurate. That
Okay.
might be something that I need to dig deeper into
Uh-huh.
because that happens sometimes, like the drag and drop functionality, where it's like, no, we can't do it. So I feel like maybe I should just go back and like push a little harder and be like, well, these things
Yeah.
exist right here. Is there no way that we can access it?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, some of the beta testers were trying to kind of like arrange their panels more like Premiere so that they could set their in and out points before dragging it in. But at this point, in this version of Railcut, that's not a feature yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. That's
Yeah.
cool though. It's really cool. Yeah. Speaking of the limitations, so I really like that's with your console, how you were talking about how it's referencing what's going on.
Hmm.
I was working on a plugin for Houdini in Octane in order to be able to take a Octane for Houdini scene and be able to chop it up into Orbix files, like, clipped Orbix files, so that you can send it to the render network just a whole lot
Hmm.
smaller.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really like about Houdini in particular is that if you hover over any sort of thing, it tells you exactly what that expression or what the thing is being called,
Yes.
which they don't have in After Effects. So I can only imagine the
No,
frustration of
don't.
having to figure out what is this thing called. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's part of the whole database that I built up. I was able to just grab that entire scripting database that I built up and give it to this project,
Yeah.
so that the extend script part and the interacting with After Effects part was pretty much there already. It was just these interesting scenarios of, can a CEP panel actually identify when you're dragging something from the
Mm-hmm.
project panel to it? Like, yeah, those were the little hurdles that I had to get over.
How does it
Um,
incorporate your like your blending modes and stuff like that? Do you
yeah.
need to go back into original timeline composition After Effects in order to adjust all that? So it's kind of like this back and forth if you're, changing blending modes or using
Right.
mats or something like that.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly how it's set up. The whole buzz around the initial release, everybody's saying this is a premiere killer and stuff, and I'm like, I didn't say that. Like,
Yeah.
no, no. So like people are kind of like taking it as if this is a standalone app that is somehow bringing the functionality and the performance of Premiere to
Yeah.
After Effects, but it's not. Like, it's literally just an illusion of a
Yeah.
timeline.
Yeah.
But it's After Effects. It is 100% After Effects, and like the blending modes, the track mats, all that is still in After Effects. You don't
Mm-hmm.
get access to keyframes. You don't get access to those blend modes, those track mats. My vision for the workflow of Railcut is that you open it to assemble and edit, to do editorial work,
Yeah.
and then you close it.
Yeah.
And then you're back in After Effects. Like, if
Yeah.
you're in After Effects, I don't imagine you're there to edit videos. But if you need to do some editing work quickly, you don't
Yeah.
have to jump to Premiere anymore.
Yeah.
So the other limitation, the really obnoxious limitation of After Effects, is when you hit spacebar to preview,
Uh-huh.
the current comp's timeline always comes into focus. So if I dock Railcut on top of the After Effects timeline and I press spacebar,
Uh-huh.
it switches to bringing After Effects timeline in the foreground, Railcut in the
Ah.
background. And so when I discovered that, I was like, oh no, this is going to completely kill it. Like, there's no way that this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, what if I dock it below the After Effects timeline and then I just collapse the After Effects timeline and it worked? Yeah, like that's how I have mine set up. So
Yeah.
even though it's not visible, it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when After Effects switches focus to that panel, Railcut doesn't go anywhere that way.
Makes sense.
So, but I like to have it there because, honestly, opening it up a little bit so I can see the layers and see what I'm doing in Railcut is actually translating in After Effects is
Yeah.
fun. I actually
Yeah.
like seeing the instant feedback of, oh yeah, it's making those edits. It's not
Yeah.
mangling my After Effects project.
Yeah. Could you bring in an EDL?
Can you bring EDLs into
I don't
After
know if you
Effects?
can.
I should look at that. I
You
don't know.
should.
There's so many questions like that that people are like, could you do multicam editing? I was like, what? Why would you ever do multicam editing in After Effects? Or like people asking for audio mixing. I was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm not going to make After Effects an
Yeah.
audio mixer. And
Yeah.
that's where I keep going back to the whole misconception that this is Railcut is somehow doing something magical
Yeah.
that brings performance boost to After Effects.
Yeah.
It is After Effects. If you
Yeah.
can press spacebar in After Effects and play back your timeline,
Uh-huh.
then you can do the same thing in Railcut.
Yeah.
And if you can't, you can't. Like, it's
Interesting.
no different.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
literally pressing the spacebar for you.
Yeah.
That's it.
But the convenience factor of being able to bring in clips, edit them together, and then do your After Effects on top of that is incredible. It's very valuable, because one of the things that I hate more than anything is when I'm editing something in Premiere, and then I'm like, oh, I need to do some sort of effect on this. So you highlight it, you send it to After Effects, and then you have this like comped version or nested version inside of Premiere that you have to always update in After Effects. That's frustrating.
Yeah.
When I could just, oh, all your lights went out.
It's 5 o'clock my time. My time. My
that's
lights are on a
hilarious.
timer.
But yeah, no, it's like, I would rather, that's why I edit in After Effects, is because if I have a clip, I will oftentimes have Premiere open. And I love that you can copy and paste in between After Effects and Premiere. I'll go into Premiere, I'll just copy, I'll open up a new After Effects, I'll paste it in there, and then I'll edit from there, or I'll change stuff.
Yeah.
But being able to just bring that in, cut, here we go, let's edit on top of whatever we need, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's been my workflow. So it's interesting because I built this tool, and I think it's more useful to other people than it is to me, because I'm still using Premiere. Like I'm not gonna start editing my YouTube tutorials in After Effects. Like that's ridiculous that I would ever do that.
And would take forever to render.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I'm noticing from people who are like sharing screenshots on Instagram and stuff, that it's much more for people who are cutting these like quick reels that need captions or graphics overlaid on top of them. And an After Effects comp would have hundreds of layers, and that's how they've been working. But now they can have this alternate timeline that allows them to manage it and view it at a much more structured format, where it's like, this is the video track, this is the captions track, here's the overlays. And I think it's, even if you can't get real-time playback out of it, I think it still enables you to work so much more quickly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, and this is, again, the whole reason why I even tried this, was because over the last few years, the After Effects team has really upped what After Effects is capable of.
They have.
Yeah, so I mean, with multi-frame rendering, and most recently, they took so much of the load off of RAM with on-the-fly disk caching, and now it's compressed, so it takes up even less space. If you just load in raw footage, or even just like compressed footage, and hit spacebar, in my experience on my machine, which is modest by today's standards, it can cache those frames faster than it can play them back.
Yeah.
So essentially, you're getting real-time playback in After Effects. And so that's what I keep telling people that are asking, like, is this going to make After Effects perform better? I'm like, no, but if you're using it the way that I would to edit clips, you probably have the performance you need, unless you're working on like a MacBook Air, which I tested. I have a MacBook Air, and yes, in that case, it cannot render those frames faster than it can play them back. But that's a 2021 laptop, and I'm working on a Puget desktop. Still, like, I mean, it has 128 gigs of RAM, but that's really not that important anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, because it has the disk caching. Like, you could work with 32 gigs of RAM, and once the RAM gets full, it just starts transferring it to your disk cache.
Yeah.
So disk cache has become way more valuable. Yeah, so it kind of was just like this alignment of performance improvements and hardware, increasing in capabilities that allowed this extension that, again, was really just started as a joke and a meme to even become, to exist. And I went into it not even knowing if it should exist. And people just, I mean, were overwhelmingly positive about it. So I think I found two bad actors, not bad actors, but two negative Nancys on Reddit. Yeah. And one on Twitter. Everybody else was happy.
That's good. That's really good. I mean, like, I think you, it's almost like rage bait in a way, where people are like, you can't play real time in After Effects, what? And they'll get upset about that, but then they see what the joy of it is, and like how it can work within a workflow, and it's like, yeah, that's fantastic. I want to ask you this. So you've got your individual layers. You talked about this, like having a specific layer for, like, okay, here's my text layer, here's my video layer. Are you having to like do any sort of tagging in order to, like, say for example, my timeline has text here, and or my composition has video and then text, and then a video and text,
Right.
and then video and text, because that's kind of what I tend to do whenever I'm not pre-comping everything. It's like I'll try and keep them generally in the same like section.
Yes.
How does that work when you're looking at it in Railcut?
Yeah. So After Effects is the ultimate source of truth for the way that the clips are stacked on the tracks.
Okay.
And this is subject to change. I have a theory that I'm going to try in a future update. But the way it works currently is it just looks at the layers in After Effects, and if they occupy the same time, any frame of overlap, then they're going to exist on top of each other on different tracks.
That makes sense.
And then if the next group of layers come in after the last out point, so there's no overlap between the next set of layers, they get dropped down to the first track.
Nice.
So
okay.
It can be a little disorienting sometimes, because if you jump from Railcut to After Effects and you add in a layer or you change something around and then you come back to Railcut, clips might move around a little bit.
Yeah,
that makes sense. It's not 100% persistent.
Yeah.
But I think that I have a technique that I've actually talked to some members of the After Effects team about, that could potentially enable track persistence, where it is doing that kind of tagging thing that you're talking about, where it literally assigns a value to every layer within the comp, and that will be saved with the After Effects project file. So you don't even have to like have a sidecar file or anything. It's just going to be stored there, so that if you in Railcut move your text layers 2 tracks up and there's 2 tracks of gap now, because that's the way you want it, it should persist.
Interesting.
I'm only 5 days into the release, so I'm not tackling that yet, but I've had Claude
come
write
on,
up
come
like
on.
6 different documents
it's not done
of
yet?
when we're ready. Because one of the other really hard limitations right now is, say you have an audio video clip, like video and audio source, and you overwrite it with just a video layer. So there's no audio source to overwrite. In Premiere, that would just overwrite the video and it would leave the audio untouched. In Railcut, the audio and video are linked, so either audio or video overwrite would overwrite both of those sources.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, and that's been surprising to some users. I have a whole list of items on the before you buy section of the product page that explains this kind of limitations. The reason I didn't do it in V1 is because it's going to involve duplicating the source video and turning the audio off of one, the video off of the other, and then it's like I just explained, After Effects is the source of truth, so I have to come up with, how do I get Railcut to always treat those 2 layers as a pair and keep track of everything? But like I said, I have a system that should be reliable. And that's kind of my next priority, is figuring out those L and J cuts and linking and unlinking of audio and video sources.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Okay, so if people want to download Railcut, where should they go?
Go to jakeandmotion.com. It's straight on the homepage. It is $10 off for the next, how many days? Until Friday. April
3 days,
3rd.
6 hours, 54
there you go.
minutes. As
I got
of
a timer.
this moment.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So go download it. There's a 7-day refund policy. There have been people who, just emailed me and it's like, you know what? It's not what I thought it was, and no questions asked. I don't mind. I will give you a refund within 7 days of your purchase.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
I see a lot of friends in the chat too, by the way. I see all of you. So glad to see you here. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we've talked a lot about Railcut, and especially like the Claude coding stuff, which is AI based. I want to move on to another thing that I saw a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, where you were testing out Higgsfield's new motion. Oh, I forget what it's called.
Vibe motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's like, what's so funny to me, and like, so don't get me wrong, I really like Higgsfield. It has done a whole lot as far as like helping us with creating assets that are either not great, when we like, say we go on a shoot or something and it's like, this could be better. Let's see what we can do here in order to add a little bit more flair, or like get better movements from actors or something like that.
Right.
And it's been really great for that. Or like, let's create another clip. We want a clip, that we can insert into this edit really quickly,
Yes.
and it's like, okay, Higgsfield has been great, but I have not messed with the motion stuff at all.
Yeah.
My only experience from it is you trying it out and being like, well, that didn't work. That didn't work.
Yes. Oh man.
I
Okay,
would love
yeah,
to hear
we
about
get-
your experience with it,
Yeah. Okay, so I was not familiar with Higgsfield before they released their Vibe Motion release video,
Yeah.
which I watched in its entirety. I was very put off by it because the marketing was very much like we just killed the motion design
I
industry.
hated that. Yes.
Yeah.
That was
So it was very
super
rage
pompous
bait.
and kind of like,
Yeah.
very rage baity.
And obviously I didn't believe it, but I clicked the video and the whole thing, like from the gate, it was like the audio was so incredibly compressed.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, something is not sitting right with me, and it almost made me feel like, is this person real? Is this an AI generated person? I don't, but I've watched
Yeah.
other videos. It seems like he is a real person, but the whole video was full of animated graphics and things that, honestly, they looked nice.
Uh-huh.
It was very well animated, but I was kind of under the impression that they were trying to suggest that video was animated with their Vibe Motion tool.
Yeah.
And I immediately went to the YouTube comments, and people were making jokes like, "This video brought to you by Adobe After Effects," and like nobody was buying it.
Uh-huh.
But I watched the whole video, and I made the decision right there. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna look at this anymore until I'm ready to record my actual reaction.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to know anything more about Higgsfield. I want to go into this with 100% honesty
Yeah.
and authenticity with my viewers. And that's what I did. The concept was, in that video, they gave like 5 or 6 prompts, word for word. They spelled out the prompts, they showed the assets they used, and then they showed us the output,
Yeah.
which was instant in their videos, and I knew that's a lie.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, what if I just do the exact same thing? What if I take their prompts word for word, I use the same assets, and try it? And it failed so much more spectacularly than I ever imagined.
Yeah, some of them wouldn't even like it would just fail immediately and be like, credits refunded or something like that.
Not immediately.
Oh.
After 3 to 5 minutes of waiting.
Yeah.
By the end of it, it was close to 50% of my prompts failed after generation.
Man.
And took my credits.
Man.
Like it was frustrating. Like I cut a reel together of just my negative reactions, a lot of which didn't even make it into the edited video. And it was hilarious. People really liked it. But what I discovered with it, because they promised editability and everything is directable after and adjustable after. And on the first one that worked, I moved a slider and the font size changed, or I could change the color. I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't just an MP4. This is somehow an interactive animation. And I was like, I wonder what format it is. And
Is
I
it
was like clicking on the web
HTML5
player
or something like that?
Yes. So I was clicking on the player and I accidentally selected, and it made like a selection of the elements in the player. And I was like, oh, this is just web code. And so I inspected it in the Chrome inspector.
That's why it says
And I was
instant.
like playing the animation. You could see the values changing. I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
This is just like CSS and JavaScript and HTML.
Yep.
And they said, they were honest. They said that this is by Anthropic. So I'm like, they're literally using Claude Code to vibe code animations. And they're wrapping it in their own little chatbot. But the thing that killed me is that half of the controls it generated did nothing.
Yeah.
When it did work, half of the controls did nothing. I couldn't change the font. A lot of times the color controls wouldn't work. The prompts did look similar to what they created in their videos, what they claimed was created, but like the first one was their logo's animation, and I did it twice with a PNG, and it wasn't looking very good. And I was like, well, maybe I need to give it the SVG version.
Yeah.
And I did, and it didn't look any better. I think it was worse than the first two.
Interesting.
But it kind of pulled back the curtain of what they were trying to do, because I was hoping that it was going to be some kind of format that I would then be able to get into After Effects somehow and take it further.
Yeah.
And so that actually sparked an idea.
That's an idea there. It's like, okay, they're using HTML5 or whatever to build out this stuff. Why not create something again with Claude that then
Yeah.
exports some sort of like XML or EDL or something like that and allows you to bring that into After Effects and then change it.
Right. And and instead they just allow you to download it as an MP4.
Right.
You can't even do anything with that format that lives in the browser.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen anybody do that. It seems like everybody that's approached motion design with AI is all about do it on our browser and stay here.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be much more useful to a motion designer if maybe you start in the browser, but you end up in the app that you want to be
I
working
agree.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And so, there's this whole I don't know what the word is for it, but like the idea that AI is amazing in every facet that you discover it in, except your domain of knowledge.
Yeah.
As soon as it comes to your expertise, you see all of the holes,
Uh-huh.
and I'm trying to be aware of that with code,
Uh-huh.
because it feels like a genie in a bottle.
It really
like
does,
it's
yeah.
magic.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what's going on under the hood, and I can see how video editors and people who are used to making PowerPoint presentations can look at a tool like Vibe Motion and say, "This is amazing!
Yeah.
Like I can just type what I want and it animates it." So they just they so heavily pushed it as the motion design killer.
Yeah.
That I was like, I'm not gonna hold anything back.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry. Normally I'm nice, happy-go-lucky Jake, and
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, but it's like no, like you guys, this is ridiculous. By the way, if I can
By
tell
the
you,
way.
I've been emailed probably 10 times by Higgsfield before and after that video to
Uh-huh.
do a sponsorship, and I've never replied to them.
That's so interesting.
Apparently they don't watch my YouTube channel.
Yeah. That's so weird. I know they've got
Yeah.
some like, influencer thing. Higgsfield is really big in the influencer crowd,
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it is.
for good reason. I think, I do enjoy Higgsfield. I
Yeah.
think it's fantastic for video stuff and concepting. Concepting, it is phenomenal. Being able to pay, I pay like I think it's like $20 a month or $180 a year or something like that. And I'm able to create boards really easily,
Yes.
that then we can use that and we can go in and we can create our 3D animations or our motion graphics and stuff. It takes a lot of pulling the slot machine 800 times,
Yes.
Before you finally get that thing that is good enough for me to illustrate what needs to happen in real life,
Yes.
But it has gotten, I think it's gotten fantastic for, Cling. It has Cling built into it, and Cling you can
Right.
do first frame, last frame, and then there's a new thing that they added where it's like you can take like characters or people or like animals or some sort of object as and it's got a whole library of them that you load in there, and then you can reference like at this thing,
Okay.
inside your prompt, so it knows
Yeah.
this is what it looks like through every single shot that I am using this person or this thing here.
Right.
Which is cool. It's really cool,
Yes.
especially, if you're doing VFX or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
for motion design, you're 100% right. It's not there,
It's not there yet. I think it will get there. And I haven't gotten much into the video generation space.
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of people doing amazing stuff. Like Joey at School of Motion
Mm-hmm.
showed me some stuff that he's been working on. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So like I fully believe that Higgsfield probably is really good. Like I could see on their homepage, like they have solid video generation.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't know Higgsfield before the video, and I didn't do any research prior because
Sure.
I wanted that authentic reaction. So yeah, I don't want to come out like saying that I'm 100% against Higgsfield.
Yeah.
I just am 100% against and do not recommend anyone use their Vibe Motion tool
Yeah.
at this
Yeah, yeah,
stage.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, man. All right. Well, I appreciate you hitting me up yesterday, and so that
Yeah,
you can
me
come on the
too.
show and
I'm
talk
glad it worked out.
Railcut. Like it's. I'm really happy for you and all the positive vibes you've gotten from this. It's really
Thanks.
really good. I hope it does well for you. And I hope this is just the beginning of all the new apps that we get for After Effects from you.
We'll see. There,
Yeah.
I've got a list.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so You also have courses. You have a whole bunch of
Yes.
stuff. jakeinmotion.com. You can also pick up Railcut there. Are you on any of the socials and stuff?
Yeah, everything is at Jake in Motion on basically any social. YouTube. I'm trying to start doing live streams once a week, and I'll be live tomorrow. So if you're interested,
Cool.
head on over there.
What time?
10 a.m. Mountain Time, so that's 9 a.m. Pacific and noon Eastern.
Okay, awesome. And then you also have a Discord, right? Is it open to everyone?
I
or
do.
is it...
It's a public Discord.
Okay.
It's a public Discord, Jake in Motion. I don't even know how you tell people to go to a Discord server, but it's in the link of every one of my YouTube videos. There's an invite.
Cool. So just go to Jake in Motion on YouTube. Hit the bell icon. That's before you do that, but hit the bell icon in ours, on MoGraph.
Right. Don't leave here yet.
Right. Hit the bell icon, then, just check out the Discord and stuff like that. So, yeah. Awesome. Jake, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. And thanks everyone for joining. Make sure to follow us on all the socials, especially YouTube and Twitch. Hit that bell icon. And Thursdays are our weekly MoGraph hangouts. So we've been doing that. This week we are going back to our retro review with me, EJ, and Winbush. EJ's joining us this week. We're going to be playing probably more than likely we're going to be playing DuckTales on the NES because EJ doesn't believe me that I can beat it in 12 minutes. I know all the glitches.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're probably
such a great game.
We're probably going to be doing that. I'm also I finished my NES game, and it is up on Retro. What is it? Retrocade. The Retroverse. Let's see, the Retroverse.com. I think it's like, I don't know. /play/escape. Hold on, I'm testing it right now. Maybe that's not it. Anyway, the retroverse.com /product/escape. If you go there, you can play my game, which is fun.
Awesome.
It's just a demo. If people like it, I'm going to be, if you're in the Milwaukee area in the end of April for Midwest Gaming Classic, I'll have a little booth that you can try it out, But if people like it, I want to turn it into an actual, like, full-on NES with cartridge and everything, which would be cool. But I'm going to have EJ and Winbush test it out, as well, and see what they think of it. But yeah, that's Thursdays. It's a weekly free-for-all where we explore all things MoGraph, video games, Houdini, Blender, and more. It's Thursday nights around 7:00 Central Time, so it's fun. Also, if you haven't done it yet, make sure to sign up for your very own MoGraph.com account. It's a one-stop shop for everything a motion designer needs. Showcase your demo reels, projects you worked on, post jobs, apply for jobs, sell your digital goods, find meetup groups, or start one of your own, and a lot more is planned. We're over like 1,300 or 1,400 members, which is great. There may be one or two spam members in there, so I apologize. Just follow the people that you know, and you won't get that in your feed. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, Jake, for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Yeah, and until next time, I'm Matt, and he's Jake. We're out of here. Later, yo.
See you guys. Thanks.
Where's my ending? Ending.
It's pretty good, I guess.